story of Helene. Helene came to me, and as I mentioned, she said she wanted her mouth to be improved because she's getting ready for her daughter's wedding. We've got about a year. Any guesses as to what's going on here? It was lemons. She sucked on lemons every day. Now, I've got a lot to consider. Vertically, could we open her? For angle of disclusion, probably, but I've got to for ease of restorability. The dilemma, of course, is I can't do any occlusal preparation because I'm into pulps, and the biology of her soft tissues are such, I'm sure we're going to have full mouth crown lengthening. And so that's what we prepared Helene to do. Well, less than a year later, we got her finished. Now, as you look at some of this, you might say, well, Mike, you know what? We've seen some great speakers today, and there are parts of that just aren't wonderful. Because I can look at it, and I can tear some of it apart myself. Look at my free gingival margin height here. It's off. That lateral is a little too bulky. This canine's a little fat. This incisal edge here is a little bit long. I don't like the color of this compared to this. I mean, there are things about it that just aren't perfect. But let me tell you, when we finished Helene's mouth, she was there at her daughter's wedding with her smile. And she was so fired up about her smile that she hired the professional photographer to come in her backyard, and this was the picture that they took. But I haven't told you the whole story. How many of y'all were here for our Wednesday meeting? Quite a few of you? What was the answer that we were given in all of the exercises that we did? Everything was what? Relationship-based. That's what we keep talking about, isn't it? Because there's more to the story with Helene. And the story is this. Helene was in a wheelchair. And what I could do in Steve's mouth in 2 hours might take 4 hours for me to do in Helene's mouth. It was really difficult. That's the reason Helene did not have crown lengthening. We tried to minimize as much treatment as possible. Now, as it turned out, her home care became immaculate. Her tissues weren't perfect, but they were better. And let me tell you, she was absolutely thrilled. And so one day, I'm sitting in my office. In my office, I've got a lab bench here, and there's a doorway next to my lab bench, and you look down the doorway down the hall. And I'm sitting at my lab bench working away, and Tammy comes behind me and taps me on the shoulder. And she says, Mike, stand in the hallway. And I said, Tammy, I'm busy, leave me alone. She said, Mike, stand in the hallway. I said, Tammy, leave me alone. And she finally grabs me by the shoulders, and she literally moved me to the doorway right here. And she said, I said, stand in the doorway. And I did. And I looked down at the end of the hall, and there was Helene in her wheelchair. And Helene stood up, and she walked down the hall, and she gave me a hug. And that was the first time in 2 years that Helene had walked. Now, what did we do for her? Did her teeth make her walk? No. But what did it do to her self-esteem? What did it do for her ego? That's what it's all about. It's not about the tooth. It's about the things that we talked about on Wednesday, the human component. It's about the people and the people that we touch. And that's the opportunity that we have. And that's, I think, the biggest difference that Pankey Institute has over any other learning institution in the world. It's a human component that we have.